All right, I think we're live. All right, well, welcome everybody back once again to the recap. Michael D'Angelo here, not alone this week. My co-host, Mr. Big D, Daryl Ortiz, has returned from beyond. Great to see you, my friend.
Likewise. It was a fun, crazy time in Austin, or Bastrop to be specific. Never been there before, so it was lots of fun. Unique experience, definitely hanging out with some bearded brothers of mine. So lots of fun.
Very
but
cool.
You held it down very well yourself. So kudos to you as well.
I was talking to myself, which is sadly not uncommon, so it works out pretty well. But great to have you back. Got a lot of action to recap from Raw and SmackDown this week. It's the post-elimination chamber, the final premium live event, the PLEs that they call them now. They're not pay-per-views. The final PLE before WrestleMania. So coming off of Elimination Chamber, which was pretty eventful. So we'll dive right into Monday Night Raw, Big D. So I'll toss it to you because I know the folks at home have heard way too much from me over the last week and a half.
So interesting enough, Monday Night Raw started off with, of course, again, just quick hits here. A little back and forth banter between reinvigorated Becky Lynch, if you will, and a ready and eager Rhea Ripley. That was a nice little back and forth between them. Again, coming face to face because Becky Lynch, after winning the Elimination Chamber, will be facing Rhea Ripley for the title. Of course, she is interrupted by Nia Jax, who's still pissed off about her loss to Rhea Ripley, and she takes out Becky Lynch on a sneak attack. Going to set up a little, I don't know. I'm hoping they're not trying to set up like a three-way at WrestleMania for the title.
Yeah.
I really would prefer a one-on-one with Becky and Rhea. I think that'd be really, really, really good. So I'd be looking forward to that. We'll see how that progresses. After that, they must have heard you because we had Sami Zayn defeating Shinsuke Nakamura clean.
He finally won. It happened.
He was even surprised when it happened. He was like,
I know. He was like, he won the Super Bowl. It was great.
Yeah. So good for Sami. Love Sami Zayn. I think he's so awesome, and I'm glad. I'm not sure what they're going to do with him at this point, but again, it's a good step in the right direction for Sami Zayn, getting him a W in that column there. So that was good to see as well. After that,
I was happy. And Sami Zayn kind of faked like an abdominal injury in this match. This is something that I've been kind of picking up on. It's happening a lot recently in WWE. Is faking some sort of injury, because Sami faked the knee injury against Drew McIntyre, and then he faked the abdominal injury here. Right. You had KO faking a broken hand for like the entire U.S. champion tournament. Like every single match is like he's got a broken hand when he clearly didn't. Randy Orton faked a back injury through Elimination Chamber, and I'm like,
yes.
Yeah, that's why I was like, why are they doing... I get that, like, you're selling being hurt, but trying to sell, like, semi-legitimate injuries for all of these different storylines feels like a little much.
It does, and I think a lot of it is them trying to play into the whole overcoming obstacles and overcoming challenges and overcoming injury, which, I mean, truth be told, that's a story overtold. I think we can do a lot more without the constant, like, I mean, I swear I think Randy laid on his back for like a good 5-10 minutes in the Elimination Chamber.
Well, and in fairness, during an Elimination Chamber match, they have to have like, oh, they're out, they're incapacitated for a while, like while somebody else works.
Yeah, but it just felt the camera zoomed on Randy, like, look, he's holding his back.
Yeah, it's like, look, he's really hurt here, and he was like, well, this gives him a reason to lay down for like 15 minutes.
I mean, maybe they'll realize they're doing it too much and stop doing it, because it's just, or I mean, I hate to think that they're actually legitimately hurting themselves, which I don't think is the case. But
yeah, I don't think they are. I mean, it's for me, because you see him like bounce back the next week, and then they were actually okay, and I'm like, yeah, this feels like they're doing it more for the storytelling, but it just feels like it's a trope that's getting overused a little bit. But
I agree with you. I agree with you. I do. It doesn't. I don't feel it does any good for the face. You know what I mean? It really doesn't. But we'll see. After that, we had Raquel Rodriguez taking on Chelsea Green. Basically a squash match. Letting Raquel show off her strength. I mean, trying to build her back up. Bummed out because I know they made the mistake in putting Jade Cargill in the poster and then took it down. And I think they put in Raquel because of the mistake. I feel had they not messed up, we would have seen Jade Cargill in an Elimination Chamber. But in hindsight, knowing that Elimination Chamber is over and Becky Lynch won, I'm glad they didn't, because it wouldn't have been good for Jade Cargill to lose her debuting match. Even though it wasn't. It's an Elimination Chamber match, so it can be to like, hey, inexperienced. There's a lot you can chalk up to it, but I just don't feel it would have been a good look for her to lose. If she would have gone into that match, I think it would have been her winning. So I think that's why now, since Raquel lost at the Elimination Chamber, again, she's trying to build herself back up to the dominant force that she's been built as, right? So still waiting to see what they do with her. I'm curious to see what Raquel does now that she's back. Squash match was a step in the good direction for her.
Yeah, it was definitely needed. It was good that it happened against Chelsea Green. That was like kind of a slam dunk. She'd go out there and do the heel thing, ran the crowd down, and then got run down herself. So yeah,
Chelsea's really
good. It was
She's
what it was.
Such a great heel.
Quick and easy.
She really is. She's such a great
heel. She is, but she was here to be cannon fodder for Raquel Rodriguez, just to be let's show off how great she is.
She did it well.
Yeah, so she totally did.
After that, we had Imperium come out, popping off, of course, with Gunther and the rest of his squad there, with Judgment Day interrupting. Sorry, my train of thought just crashed. But yeah, Judgment Day interrupting because Gunther was saying he doesn't have anybody that can challenge him for the title. Like, who's possibly next? I was expecting Braun Breaker to come out.
I was hoping he was going to come out. Yeah. I was like, hey, you know what? That'll be cool if Braun Breaker comes out. So Judgment Day was a little bit of a swerve for me. It was strange. Yeah. And you know what? It harkened back to what you talked about, because you've been talking about, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time they pivot Damian Priest doing the cash in, have him cash in for the Intercontinental. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh, Big D's talked about this a few times. That's why I wore this. And I'm like, looks like I know. Told you so. See?
Shout out to Gino.
He's right most of the time. I'm right like half the time. You're right most of the time.
No, but it's true.
I'd like to see this though. I would like to see Damian Priest versus Gunther at WrestleMania. Nice. I don't know if they're gonna get there. I don't know if they're gonna do that, but that would be cool.
So from what I saw, then after that, the backstage segment was Dominic was the one that's going to challenge Gunther for the title.
Yeah.
Because Rhea was upset about that. But I think it would make sense to let Dominic fight for the title, let him lose, but Damian cashes in on Gunther.
Cashes in.
I think that would make sense. And that would also kind of play into Damian Priest's power trip, and right now he's trying to define himself as the leader of Judgment Day, so he could be like, this guy couldn't do it, so I'm going to do it myself, and he's going to go cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. Because if you notice, Finn Balor's thumb was braced up, casted up, so you're going to need something for Damian Priest to do, so that would make sense. But that's just totally a thought, just something I'm thinking about. I think that might be the good way to go. Let Dominic wear down Gunther, because Dominic Mysterio, I feel arguably one of the top heels right now too, because of so much heat that he gets. Like, he can't even get a promo off. They have to do it for him, and it's just, I think there was a part during Elimination Chamber where the screen went black for like a good few seconds for the tag team match, but it was because, from my understanding, the entire front row was flipping off Dominic Mysterio. Oh, nice. which is good, but that brings up another argument. If like, hey, Peacock, if we're paying for this premium live event, like, don't censor us.
Yeah, don't cut away. Don't censor it.
I've been seeing too many of these black screens now, and it's getting annoying. So maybe when they move to Netflix, that won't happen anymore. But I get it. WWE's trying to be PG, but based off of the promos lately and in the way that they're kind of trying to be just more edgy, I think that's going to be the path, and I think they just need to let it go. I think Peacock needs to stop doing that because it's annoying. So, but after
Peacock does it, Fox does it too. There was a million black screens
oh my God, it was annoying.
SmackDown. Yeah. Where I was like, am I losing connection? Like, there were a couple of times, and I was like, no, the closed captioning's still running. So I was like,
the little live icon was there still. So
yeah, the live icon was there. The closed captioning was still there, and they kept cutting away during The Rock's promo, and we'll get to that later. But I was just like, okay, that was very disruptive.
Yeah. After that, we had what I felt was a great match between Imperium and New Day in the street fight.
Yep.
Nice
match
little
of the
touch.
night.
Yeah, I agree. I feel that's probably honestly the best match of the evening, just because, I mean, just New Day. And it was funny because they came out in the jeans, and that's usually like the street fight, attire.
Yeah.
We don't come out in ring gear. We come out in jeans and hockey jerseys.
Right.
And then Imperium comes out in their ring gear in typical Imperium fashion, right? But I noticed they did a little head nod tribute to the Dudley Boys. And Xavier was telling Kofi to get the tables. That was great. I thought that was awesome. And even Bubba Ray, I think he tweeted out that they need to start announcing New Day as the most highly decorated tag team in all of wrestling. They are.
That's great.
I mean, they are.
Yeah, they are.
That was so good. I mean, everything happening there. Xavier Woods hitting the elbow drop through the table on Vinci. That was all the way down to ringside. It wasn't even like in the ring. It was from the top turnbuckle all the way down ringside, which was a great visual. Again, just seeing the whole back and forth of the extreme, like a true street fight.
It was like I thought about that. I was like, this is like an Attitude Era like street fight, because they had chair shots and they had kendo sticks, and like they really went for it, which I was like, yeah, this feels like a throwback. And I thought it was a lot of fun. It was great.
I really enjoyed it because of that. It reminded me of like an old school Attitude Era street fight, and it's about time we had one like that. I feel like the last few times they've been using the street fight, rule was just so that the other team could have interference. Honestly, I think that's and we saw some of that on SmackDown.
I was like, really? Like, can we mix it up a little bit? Which that street fight was also the match of the night. You'll see that later. Yeah. By far for what was on SmackDown. But anyways.
Yeah, but again, this was match of the night in my books. New Day, New Day Imperium, give me more of that. I would love to see one more, maybe a Falls Count Anywhere at WrestleMania. They will be at the Eagles Stadium, so it'd be nice to see something crazy go down within the stadium, somewhere in it, right? Like in the press suite or something. That'd be really cool to see. The locker room, that'd be kind of cool. So I don't know, that'd be cool to see, but we'll see what happens with that. After that, we had Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler stuck back as a tag team again to defeat Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. It was okay.
It was filler.
Yeah, it was just a filler feud, I guess. So nothing too crazy about it. It's just, it is what it is. There was a submission that was Kirifu to clutch. That's pretty much what it was. Getting the tap out real quick. So nothing fancy. After that, we had Drew McIntyre to come out and cut his promo about winning the Elimination Chamber to call out Seth Rollins. Nice touch, and sitting cross-legged.
Yeah, doing the pipe bomb. Yeah. As soon as he sat down in like the pipe bomb cross-legged stance, like this was promo of the night for me. I loved everything about it. So I love heel Drew McIntyre. He's so good. Yeah. And it's funny because heel McIntyre makes a lot of sense. Like when he says things like he gets a lot of cheers. Like he's trying to get booed, but he actually does get cheered a lot. And all the stuff that he's saying, he's supposed to be like the smarmy heel saying it, but I'm like, everything he's saying is true. He's like, you know what? I predicted this would happen. And you know what? This is the best thing. And talking about Cody, don't screw this up. I don't want my win tainted. And I was kind of like listening to him. Like, he's making a lot of valid points here.
Yeah. And then telling Seth Rollins not to take the match, not to back him up. I mean, hinting to what I was saying before, tag match between, for night one. But again, we'll talk about that later. But, kind of telling Seth, stay out of it. I don't want that to take precedence over my victory over you. And just in general, Seth Rollins comes out. Him and Becky apparently wearing the same clothes, which was interesting.
Apparently, they were matching.
I don't know how I feel about the new attire. We'll see. It'll probably grow on me, but we'll see. But it was a good promo. I enjoyed it. Looking forward to seeing both men tear it down at WrestleMania. I think it's going to be a good one. Promos leading up to it are going to be great. I can already tell.
Yeah.
So.
They'll be fantastic. The other thing too that Drew was talking about hurting his eardrum. When he's like, I injured my eardrum. And doctor said I might miss WrestleMania. And I said, who do you think I am, CM Punk? Like, everything about it was just so good. It was so funny. Absolutely loved it. That was promo of the night. Great. Love. Keep doing it, Drew. Love it.
Then we had a little tit for tat. Nia Jax winning against Liv Morgan by disqualification because Becky Lynch interfered. I wasn't a fan of this at all. I mean, obviously there's going to be some sort of match. I'm hoping they can blow this off before WrestleMania. I do not want Becky's title match to be a 3-way. I really don't. I really don't. But something in my gut tells me it's going to end up being a triple threat at WrestleMania. I don't like it, but
well, I don't like it, and I didn't like them putting Liv Morgan in this position either, because I'm like, Liv Morgan has come back with a lot of momentum. She was runner-up in the Royal Rumble, runner-up in Elimination Chamber, and then you kind of bring her out here against Nia Jax to not look great. She kind of got beat up against Nia Jax, and then she loses the match. Yeah. She loses the match, and because Becky Lynch, she was basically background at Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax. I didn't like that at all. And the worst thing about this match, too, is Pat McAfee on the telestrator when they come back from break and he zooms into Liv Morgan's screaming face and goes, look, get the telestrator. Okay, pause it here. She knows she's in trouble here. I'm like, when she's getting hurt? Yeah, I was like, I hate you, Pat McAfee. And so it was just the dumbest thing. And I'm like everything about this I could have done without, and Liv Morgan didn't deserve it.
She really didn't, and I felt bad for her. But I guess somebody had to take it, and somebody had to take that fall. Might as well have been somebody else, anybody else, but Liv Morgan. I feel it hurts her more than anything else. But I don't know. But after that, we had the main event, which is Cody Rhodes against Grayson Waller. Never thought I'd ever see that as a main event on the card.
We main event on SmackDown too. So
yeah, we did. But again, Cody obviously picks up the victory. Afterwards, looking out and shouting out that he's going to challenge. Obviously, he put the challenge out to The Rock, and waiting to hear back on that, right? But as I thought it was funny at the end when Cody Rhodes yells out, the bloodline isn't hunting me, I'm hunting the bloodline, and I'm like, this is going to be a tag match. I'm like, it's going to be a tag.
It's going to be a tag match, and it was the match ended with like 10 minutes left on the show, so you knew something was going to happen. That's why I was like, oh, and then Paul Heyman walks out with his New York PD suspended police officers. This weird segment. I was like, this is kind of odd. Like, you got bad cops over here. So he goes through that. Cody wrecks everybody. And then remember the bit that they did before where he has the phone and he went, call Roman Reigns. And I was like, that's so stupid and so awkward. He doubled it up on this one. It was almost like a parody. It was like a setting you see on SNL where he pulls out a second phone and goes, call The Rock. So he's holding two phones. One has a Brahma Bull on the back of it.
That was hilarious. It's like the bat phone.
It was so stupid. I'm like, you're calling them both. You have a separate phone for each of them and you're calling them both at the same time. You're using Siri to call both of them, and of course The Rock has to have the Brahma Bull in the back of it, so it's his phone. It was just so comical, which I don't think it was meant to be.
He might as well should have brought out the gray phone that he used to carry around.
It was just like, oh my god, Paulie Dangerously. I was like, it was just so awkward and silly, but that's how it ended. I mean, that's how it closed out.
That's pretty much it on it. I mean, I wasn't a fan of how it ended. Again, very comical. This is supposed to be a feud taken seriously, and it's just, I don't know what they're going to do with it. Obviously, I'm still saying Cody's going to take that title off of Roman. Still think The Rock's going to turn on him, so we'll see. I will talk more about that later because there's a little bit more to that. But all in all, average show. Aside from the promo between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre and the street fight,
that was,
other than that,
bananas.
That was really
great
in like a 3-hour show. So to me, this is more like a C- show for me. I felt it could have been better, but it's just, I don't know.
It was more bad than good. I'll put it that way. It were more fair than good. So I think a C grade is C's good degrees. A C grade was probably where I would rate this one too. But and then leading right into that, like all of those things, SmackDown was a weird show this week.
It really was.
And I'd say it was thrown off. It was very, very strange, and the whole thing opened with Roman Reigns just heckling Glendale to acknowledge him. So that's the opening segment, was him just saying, all right, try this one more time, Glendale. Try it one more time, Phoenix. Try it one more time, Glendale. All right, never mind, I'm leaving. And then Paul reminded him that The Rock was there, Paul Heyman. And he goes, and we're going to commercial. And they come back from the break, and the Rock's music starts immediately as soon as they come back from break.
Yeah.
And I realized, I'm like, we're almost 20 minutes into a 2-hour show, and nothing's happened yet. And then the Rock walked down, and then he took his time getting down there.
Real quick, sorry.
No.
When Paul Heyman took the mic and reminded the crowd that the Rock was going to be there, did you see Roman's face?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, Roman looked distressed the whole time. He looked annoyed and distressed, and that was like the theme of like the whole time. He was just like, and like squishing his eye up, and I was like, he looks like, okay. I'm thinking, all right, so they're laying the foundation for these guys to have their falling out, and he seemed like pissed off the whole time, and he seemed like he was annoyed with the Rock the whole time, and he seemed distressed the whole time, and then the Rock came out and he did his whole spiel about making fun of Glendale and
heel
then
Rock
saying
awesome.
Phoenix. well, it was like heel Rock, like Attitude Era Rock, because he's talking about them. Phoenix is the cocaine and meth capital of the world, and just like running everyone down, and then all these cuts to like black screen and all these muting of the audio, which I'm like, I know people are probably yelling obscenities at him. It was so disruptive to the promo and to the flow of the promo because they had to keep the censor button is getting hit so much. And Roman just kept giving him the stink eye the whole time. Rock, of course, said no to Cody's challenge, but did what you've been talking about before, where he said, we'll make you a counter offer, which is night one, it'll be a tag match between Cody and Seth versus The Rock and Roman, which is something you've been talking about that. And I was like, are they really going to do that? Like how, like I still have more questions around, like, I'm guessing that means that Cody and Seth's title matches are both going to be on day two. They're not going to, they're not going to be splitting that up.
No, they're probably going to do women's titles on night one as the main event.
On night one.
And then night two will be the men's titles.
The men's titles. I think it'd have to be. But and the whole thing is if Cody and Seth win, then the bloodline is barred from Roman versus Cody on night two. But if the bloodline wins, then it's going to be, what did he say? It's like a bloodline rules match, whatever that means. Where it's like, we can literally do whatever we want. We can beat you to death, and it's all sanctioned. And so that's like, and then he's like, we'll get the answer next week in Dallas. It's like, okay, of course you're going to have to wait. And then he called Seth Rollins a clown a bunch of times, like too many times.
He kept
saying,
a clown emoji.
Yeah, a clown emoji. That clown emoji, Seth. He said it so many times that it was starting to lose all meaning. And then he was going to do his closing with "If You Smell," and then Roman grabbed his arm and stopped him. And it was like, hey, I need you to do something for me, man. He was whispering a little too much into the mic. Yeah. And then he finally says, I need you to acknowledge me. And The Rock did, but
hesitantly.
He kind of hesitated. Yeah, he hesitated, and it was kind of awkward. And so he acknowledged him as his tribal chief in kind of a hesitated, awkward way. So they're
the look on The Rock's face when he grabbed his wrist.
Yeah,
like, he looked at him like,
"Don't touch me, jabroni."
Really? Yeah.
Well, and that's from and the other thing too that happened here is he hands it off to him for like, if you smell what the bloodline is cooking. But then he did the L thing again that you talked about.
Yep.
He did the L thing, but it was funny because then at one point you just see his thumb go like that. Like it was like this for a little bit, and then he thinks about it, and then he does that and just points. And I'm like, okay, so is it intentional, or are they're still playing that piece? Yeah. So The Rock acknowledged Roman, but the seeds are all there for a turn of some kind.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen on night one. My guess, just to make it more entertaining, will be that The Rock and Roman will win that tag match. They'll have a Bloodline Rules match. And that's so that The Rock can be ringside to interfere with Roman so that Cody can take the title off of him. Because I don't think they want Roman to lose the title clean. I think they're going to let The Rock interfere so that I would agree with that. Cody can take the title off of Roman. And then SummerSlam, you'll have The Rock versus Roman for the real head of the table.
Yeah, I think you very well probably will see that, and I think that makes the most sense. Oh, they're changing the storyline so much. I'm almost like, how many days are we for? Like 40 days from WrestleMania. 40 days.
There's plenty of changes to be made.
There's a lot of swerves that could happen until then, but it'll be interesting to see. they're moving right along. We'll see how it plays out, but it does look like they're going to have that tag match. After that, we had Austin Theory and Grayson Waller interrupted by LA Knight, who's walking around in the back going like, "Where's AJ Styles?" with the broken chair. Randy Orton popped up, and then I realized we're 45 minutes into a 2-hour show, and then we finally got our first match, which was Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi. We got 3 whole minutes of wrestling, and then we went to commercial. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like,
"This episode of SmackDown had a lot of commercials, a lot.
It's a lot of commercials, and then just a lot of dead time of promos and video packages where I was like, and then they try to cram a lot of wrestling at the end, that's where I was like, okay, I can tell they're rushing here because and Tiffany Stratton beat Naomi. I hit the prettiest moonsault. She raked Naomi's eyes when the ref wasn't looking because the ref was trying to aggressively separate her for some reason, even though they never do that. And so his back was turned, and so she raked her eyes. It was just done so that the ref would have his back turned. So Tiffany Stratton won in a pretty quick match that was interrupted with a commercial. And then we had a match flow recap of Bayley and Damage Control Fallout, which led into Kabuki Warriors versus Dakota Kai and Bayley, which was at the 1 hour mark. So we had one match in the first hour, and then 1 hour mark, we're getting our second match of the night. This one had the obvious turn. Like, they couldn't have telegraphed this one anymore because it was very clear Dakota Kai was still on the side of Damage Control, and she was going to turn on Bayley. And then, of course, she did at one point. Like, Bayley's trying to get the desperation tag, and when she reaches, Dakota Kai just jumps off the apron and kind of gives her the stink eye, and then they all get in there and beat up Bayley. So pretty obvious. Bayley gets a beat down, and then Damage Control stands tall. Right after that, they were in the backstage segment walking like, ha, ha, ha. And we got a Jade Cargill sighting for 2 seconds, where it's like they just walk up and she's just standing there with her arms folded like, really? Yeah. And then, she never says anything. It's like you could literally have a cardboard cutout of Jade Cargill and take it to the events and just stick it in the background and go, there she is. She doesn't have to show up. And Nick Aldis just walks up and goes, all right, Jade, come this way. We need to talk. And then just takes her away with nothing happening. And there was no announcement during SmackDown that she was joining or anything. They do this tease every single week now. And we've had folks commenting online, oh, she's going to be on Raw, but she's not going to be on Raw. She's going to be on SmackDown because SmackDown really is the flagship show at this point because it's on Fox. And it has the most viewership.
It's so the bigger reach better.
That's where she's
viewership, but I think it has the biggest reach because of the network. But I would like to see her on Raw because I would love to see her and Nia Jax go at it. I'd love to see her and Rhea go at it, but I feel that this is going to be.
I just want to see her
go at it.
It's like you held her off for so long. You put her in the Royal Rumble and she was great, and now it's like just disappearance. And it's even more awkward now. It's not like, where does she go? It's like she's hanging out backstage at SmackDown apparently because you always see her like in the background, and she'll make a comment and then she's out of there. But still nothing on Jade Cargill other than a brief sighting backstage. And you knew that they knew they were in trouble with we haven't gotten enough wrestling matches in because they rushed Braun Breaker out there for the squashiest of squash matches.
Oh my God!
Where he literally it was just hey, by the way, here's Zion Quinn. We didn't have him come out to any entrance. One spear pin match was over like in 4 seconds. It was like that's it. Spear done. All right, we're caught up. We had 3 matches. It was almost like the way that they were pitching it. And it was like, okay, come on, guys. Like give us a little more than that. I do appreciate you're going to have Braun Breaker do some squash matches, but let him show off a little bit.
Yeah, I would like to see him show off like his repertoire, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
Because the casual viewer, if you must, does not know he is the son of one of the Steiner brothers, Rick Steiner. They don't know that. He's the reason he barks and the whole dog theme collar stuff is because the dog face gremlin is his dad, and he's an amazing wrestler. Honestly, he is very talented and he can put on a great match. I feel like they should have had him rather than just hit a spear and walk out. Like I think it should have been more of like let him show off his abilities. That guy was down. The guy who was facing Zion Quinn was a good sized person, so I think letting Braun Breaker just kind of throw him around probably would have looked a little bit better. But
Yeah.
what do we know?
But what do we know? And The Rock used all of his time earlier, so he was like, hey, "You've got 12 seconds, Braun." He's like, "All right," and goes out there and does his thing.
Yeah.
And then after that, we got the Santos Escobar video package. The Emperor of Lucha Libre declaring war against the LWO. The production value is always good on those, which led right into the other street fight, Santos Escobar versus Carlito. The other match of the night, because this thing was bananas and awesome. Started off a little slow, but it ended absolutely fantastic as it progressed, which I always thought was funny. I'm like, this is a street fight, but for some reason, Carlito came out with his crew and then they left. And then I'm like, it's a street fight. Why would you guys just hang out ringside? And then, of course, Angel and Humberto helped attack Carlito at one point. And I was thinking, wow, it's taking Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde a long time to get down here and help, because it was like, it just seemed like there was an awful lot of time of them bagging on Carlito, who hung in there. And they finally showed up to help clear the ring and even the odds. And then, of course, we got the returning Rey Mysterio with his music hitting, pretending to be hurt. And he comes limping down with the crutch, and then, it's a fake out. He's fine, and he uses the crutch as a weapon. He was wearing kind of a weird mask.
It looked like a Black Bolt mask.
Yeah, it was like Black Bolt mask, and it was really like almost like a helmet all the way around. And I was like, oh, that's kind of odd looking. I wasn't a huge fan of that one, but he looked good. He's back. There was a great end sequence there with. I'll just say, go back and watch it. It's the great end sequence of everyone working together. But it ultimately ended with Carlito putting Santos through a table, picking up the win. Bonkers match of the week for me.
That was a good match.
I thought this one was great.
I love it because you got Santos Escobar showing off his luchador skills, which I thought was awesome. That was great. That was a lot of fun to watch. Carlito with everyone, instead of chanting, "We want tables," they wanted the apple. Which he eventually got in there, right? Which was good. A lot of teases to it, and I thought that was great. Rey Mysterio returning was a nice surprise. I thought that was great as well. I loved it. I love seeing it. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Hopefully this is the upswing of the LWO. I'm a huge LWO fan supporter, being a huge fan of Eddie Guerrero myself. Obviously, being from here, his hometown, I love it. I love seeing the resurgence of it, and I hope they do it right. I hope we get more victories. I hope they I don't want them to expand more. I would just like to see them, be a little more dominant, like they used to be when Eddie Guerrero was the leader, because he is the founder and creator of the LWO. I know there's a lot of grief when Rey Mysterio brought it out, because Rey was never a member of the LWO. He never was. It was Eddie, La Parca, and a few others. But I would like to see LWO back in like a dominant form. So hopefully this is the upswing.
Agreed. Yeah, hopefully it is. It was a great match. Well, as we've always said, more Lucha Libre you can sneak in here, WWE. Give us all that you can, because it's great stuff. Match of the night. This was really good, especially on a slow night for SmackDown in terms of matches, because of the way they structured the show. Yeah. This one was great. We had a New Catch Republic sighting backstage right after that, wanting to get a title shot at WrestleMania, and Nick Aldis was like, I don't know about that, but I got an announcement coming, and then he got interrupted again by LA Knight, who's still walking around going, "Where's AJ Styles?" with the chair. It was that was like their running comedy routine. Is LA Knight like
Mr. Magoo
looking at the hamper and seeing, banging on the wall, trying to figure out where he is. So he never found AJ.
Because Nick Aldis said he gave him the night off.
Yeah, he
jokes on you. He's off today.
Really? I know. He's like, I gave him the day off, and he's like, "How dare you?" And he stormed out. And then the final match, it was the final match of the night with main event, Randy Orton, Austin Theory. Kevin Owens, a special guest commentator, announced at the beginning, which I was like, okay, this is odd.
Yeah.
He didn't really say, he was just kind of like having a big kid on commentary saying, this is cool, that's fun, bounce his head off the table. Yeah. He was there, obviously, because it's Austin Theory and Grayson Waller and all related to Logan Paul. And so it was like, he's there to be the backup. And so it was going to be clearly obvious that was going to happen. Yeah. Match was fine. I mean, it was we got a Grayson Waller and Austin Theory in our main events for both shows, which was, I'm like, Austin Theory I can see, because I think I feel like he's a little bit higher profile. Grayson Waller on Monday night against Cody Rhodes just felt weird. I was like, yeah, this guy shouldn't be in here.
Yeah.
And so this is just the continuation of that. Of course, Randy Orton won. Of course, it was like you knew Cody Rhodes is going to win on Monday. You knew Randy Orton was going to win here, obviously, and he did. Afterwards, Grayson Waller kind of attacked Orton from behind, so of course KO happened to be ringside. Comes in, evens the odds. The heroes stand tall. Pretty standard stuff to close the show. You could tell they really invested all of their effort into that opening promo with The Rock, where this kind of just felt like, hey, we need something nice. It's almost like an afterthought to close out the show. Because I'm like, where is this building towards? Like a rivalry with Randy Orton and Logan Paul? Like where are you going with this? Because this is the continuation of Elimination Chamber, where he hit, for whatever reason, Logan Paul hit Randy Orton with the brass knuckles and cost him the match. And they showed like a recap right before the match of like, here's like the behind the scenes camera and all this other.
Well,
like,
that was off of
Logan
Paul's social media page or whatever.
Yeah, off the social media. And it was like, this is kind of dumb, but I'm also like, is that where we're going with this? Are we going with Randy Orton versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania for the United States Championship? Because I don't know how I feel about it, but I don't know where this is going.
If it means Randy's taking the title off of him, then by all means. Please.
Yeah, totally. If it does,
I don't like Logan Paul.
I will behind that 100%. I don't know if it's going there though.
Time will tell.
But yeah,
we got 40 days.
We got 40 days. There's a lot that can happen, as we said, and I would give SmackDown this week. Just from I would still give it like a C also, just because I thought the structure was kind of awkward. I think they invested way too much in promos and commercials. And the wrestling really felt like, with exception of the street fight, which was awesome, the rest of the show, the wrestling felt like an afterthought on a wrestling show. So I give it a C.
I agree with that. I'm good with that grade. Lots of different things happening, but not much happening, if that makes any sense. A lot went down, but not really. And nothing really progressed aside from the Bloodline storyline with Cody Rhodes, The Rock's counteroffer, and of course, Roman's slow walk to the ring with his theme song, which, if you listen carefully, has been brought to my attention that the piano part of Roman Reigns' theme song sounds like Cry Me a River by Justin Timberlake. So,
really,
next time you hear it, check it out.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to that.
It's
in the DVR. I'm going to rewind it and just check it out then in that case.
It's hilarious. It does kind of sound like it. It's interesting. But anyways, again, because not much was happening, I was able to focus on stuff like that. It's just not much.
I wasn't distracted by a lot of excellent pro wrestling on this.
I was not.
I could sit here and decipher a little ear to it. Go ahead a second.
I'm saying,
is that a little Cry Me a River right here?
Yeah, that's like Cry Me a River. I'm like, you know what, it does. And I'm like,
good,
interesting.
Maybe,
but then,
a little bit.
I get noticing little details. So again, it's just, I don't know. I feel the C is appropriate. I wish there was more to it. I feel like they could have just done a lot more with a shorter opening promo, letting The Rock and Bloodline come out. Like, why don't they come out together? Obviously, because The Rock has to come out to his own music. But, like things like that, sowing the seeds, so to speak. I'm going to stand firm by saying that Rock will turn on Roman, and that will cause a feud for SummerSlam. But time will tell on that. But overall, pretty decent. I'm again going to keep a lookout on Monday, and then of course next week Friday when they talk about whether Cody Rhodes accepts
whether or not Cody Rhodes
the challenge.
Yeah,
will, but
there's it. Live from Dallas, Texas. It's already been. They've already hyped it up, which means that's what I'm going to look for next Friday. I'm sure it's going to be a half an hour opener promo. And then they're going to be rushing to get to the wrestling because if The Rock's there, you got to let him do his thing. That's how it goes. It's in his contract. It's what he agreed to when he joined the board of directors. So
very true.
Dang. Yeah. So that was it, ladies and gentlemen. Raw and SmackDown this week. Weird shows, interesting, but they're setting things up. We are on the road to WrestleMania. That's what we got for today. Also wanted to say, shout out, we passed the century mark for subscribers. So thank you all. Slowly but surely getting there. Hey, we got to celebrate all the victories here.
Heck yeah.
But thank you all for the support. Again, we couldn't do it without y'all. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, leave comments if you agree or disagree with us.
We read them. we both read them. We both check them
I know.
out.
I read them and I cry a little bit. Every time somebody says something mean about me,
I love
cry.
it. Honestly,
and
I love reading them. The interaction is why we do this. You know, I mean, we're by no means do we claim to be, producers, professionals, whatever, right? We just love wrestling, and we just really enjoy watching it and talking about it and discussing it, and we love sharing our thoughts and opinions with you all. So thank you guys very much for your support. It is immensely appreciated. And y'all don't understand. This means a lot to us. So thank you very much. We're looking forward to continue to grow, and looking forward to see y'all, see what your thoughts are and what your opinions are, because we do appreciate it. We do value them.
Absolutely. I was like, I'm not an expert. I just like pro wrestling. I like talking about it. And that's, you know what? We appreciate all the support as always. And we're out of time. So have a great rest of your week, y'all. And we will see you next week on the recap. Have a good one.